everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today you guys are going to get to see an in-depth look at my fire skink enclosure, which is immaculate. It is one of the few enclosures in my house that is not live planted. Now, I mean, the gecko bookshelves aren't live planted, as you can see, but the fire skink enclosure isn't live planted for a different reason, which is fire skinks are like super burrowers. I mean, they don't just like nestle down into the substrate like a lot of burrowing species, like burrowing frogs, for example, don't create intricate tunnels under the ground. They just burrow down into it. So you can kind of work your way around that. But fire skinks like to make tunnels under the ground, and in fact I have seen these tunnels. I can kind of see them along the front of the glass or the side of the glass, and I can see little tiny holes where his head has popped out and pulled back down. It's just adorable. I love it. But live plants can't really thrive in that type of environment. And also, full-grown fire skinks can kind of destroy plants, like a growing fern, for example. A growing fern would be crushed by a fire skink. So there are no live plants in this bioactive enclosure tour. However, the substrate is in fact bioactive. There's also no drainage layer in this bioactive tour because he uses all of the substrate to make these intricate tunnels, and the drainage layer would just become like a hindrance to his ability to make the tunnels. So without further ado, now that I've explained that a little bit, let's go ahead and take an in-depth look at my bioactive fire skink enclosure. Hello everyone and welcome to my bioactive fire skink enclosure tour. This enclosure is only bioactive in the sense that it has substrate that contains a cleanup crew, which for me is isopods and springtails. When I was first establishing the cleanup crew, I used some food for them basically, which kind of just like quickly molds and allows them to eat off of it, and it helps like build up the colony faster. So one really great way to get your colony booming faster is to feed them, to have like a supplemental food source. And when I did that for Roku's enclosure, for whatever reason, fruit flies just went wild in here, and so over the past few weeks I've been executing them with extreme force, and fortunately there's a lot less, but man oh man are they the most annoying things in the world. All my other enclosures, like, there's not any really. If there are, there's one or two, but his enclosure was like ground zero for the fruit flies, or gnats, or whatever you call them. So I just wanted to preface that if you see any gnats in this enclosure, like one that just flew right there, that is why. And if you notice that in one shot you see a gnat and in the next one you don't, it's because it is no longer living in this world. I'm going to go ahead and start with this side of the enclosure, and I'm also going to explain all of like the lighting and the heating and tech stuff that is required for the reptile at the very end. I just want to go right through decor, and then I'll talk about the other things outside the enclosure, like the heat pad or the heat lamp afterward. So this is the left side of the enclosure, and it features on the far side, this is a plant from Petco that I've had for quite a few years now. This is a driftwood piece from Chewy, and it has a Y shape, so there's like a leg here that supports it, a leg here that supports it, and then it goes up to that like little mini half level that I siliconed onto the background. It is a piece of cork tile that I just like cut. There's another one on the other side of the enclosure you'll see in a bit, and it is sealed with silicone to the background of the enclosure, which is also a cork tile. They don't make cork tiles that are 36 inches by 18, so I just bought two 18 by 18 and sealed them together in the back to create a background that actually fit. On this half level there's some leaf litter and some substrate. You'll find that throughout the entire enclosure, and then you'll also see this is a fake plant from Amazon. Now down below on the very lowest section of this side is a cave. I don't think you can see the entrance because it's buried. Here we go. So there's the entrance to the cave, and there's also a cave in the back that you can't see too. It's behind this plant. Oh goodness, I'll show you in a second. But this cave right here is a large Exoterra cave. It is one of the older versions of the Exoterra cave, so it's kind of like orange and flat. But you can't tell because it's buried in substrate. But whenever he's like wanting somewhere colder and more humid, this is where I can find him. So we'll bury that back up since that's how he prefers it apparently. Behind this plant, which is from Amazon, oh goodness, like it's gonna be hard to show you. There's like a log hide, and it's sitting on top of his cave, and it just acts as another hide, and it's kind of buried in the substrate so you can't like see it, you know, it looks more blended in, which is obviously why it's kind of hard to see behind the plant in the first place. But yeah, it's just another hide to make him feel nice and secure. Over here in the center of the enclosure we have this really cool bendy windy piece of wood. It actually trails all the way down here and hits this cork hide, which we'll get to in a minute. I also have a water bowl, but it's not really a bowl, it's a Tupperware container. But I prefer like plastic containers to resin reptile bowls because I find that the resin reptile bowls are really heavy and they will harbor bacteria like more easily because they have all of those like ridges where it can grow, and they're harder to clean. These are easy to clean. And then in addition to that, I don't like how heavy the bowls are. Like when I'm taking them out to clean them, I think that the bowls just like get in the way of like how heavy they are. They can knock stuff over when I'm taking them out. So just for ease of cleaning, different size availabilities, and yeah, I just prefer to use the Tupperware containers. In front of the Tupperware container, you will see this. It was actually a cat dish. It looks gross on the inside because that's Repashy calcium powder. It just kind of like gets like matted to the bottom after you feed them with Repashy, which I did last night. But anyways, it is actually a cat food or water dish, and I just wanted one that was that size and that shallow. And usually it's buried in the substrate more, but that's why you can see like the little birds on the side. It's not like Roku actually notices or actually cares, so it's fine. But that is his food dish, and that's how he's been eating ever since he was a little baby. So here's the bottom half of the right side of the enclosure, and it features a really large cork hide that you can only see part of, and that part is right here. This is like the rounded front or the entrance, and it is kind of concealed by this really large fern that I got off of Amazon. The rest of it is covered by this cork. So as you can see, this is the large cork piece, and that's another half shelf, which is kind of harder to tell that it's a half shelf because it's concealed by stuff. Oh yeah, here's another plant from Petco. But the cork goes like this and curves up underneath, and it's like covered in soil, so you wouldn't really be able to see the shape of it anyway. It's got a really nice shape though, which is what I appreciate about it. And then we've got this piece right here that kind of just chills underneath his basking area. He really loves to bask like right here. Like every day he'll come creep out right here and bask. He's really shy, as most fire skinks are, and so he'll only bask if I haven't come in the room, if I'm not awake in this house, if nobody touches the door. Like he will not bask if he thinks anybody is even close to the pet room. But I have seen him bask a couple times in passing, and he will come out and bask right here. He likes to be hidden, he doesn't want to be bothered, and he'll really just bask with his head, but hey, as long as he's basking, I'm happy. So last but not least, this plant up here is from Amazon, and oh, I should probably mention that the soil is a combination of organic topsoil and eco-earth. There's probably also some substrate in there from the Bio Dude. I think it's their terra firma. But I can't remember. I like mix it all together and then just kind of like distribute it amongst the enclosures that use it. So I think for the most part his is organic topsoil and eco-earth, but he probably has a little bit of terra firma in there as well. I also want to give a look at how many inches of substrate he has. I would say that this right here is the least amount in the whole enclosure, and that as you get away from the center it gets higher. So over here he has quite a bit. Over here he has quite a bit. And then his most substrate is right here in the back. It goes up, probably up to like right here. So let's go ahead and address the heating and the lighting. So this is a 70-watt mercury vapor bulb from Mega Ray, and it is his basking spot. So his basking spot is in the mid 90s. I think last time I checked it, it was around 93, but he can bask really anywhere along here. So like right around here is where it hits in the 90s, but if he really wanted to get warmer, he could kind of hang out up there. He just wouldn't be basking in the direct light, but rather he'd be receiving the heat up there. They don't require super high temperatures, so that's why a 70 watt is a good wattage for a mercury vapor bulb. They don't need like crazy heat like a bearded dragon, for example. Because he spends most of his time in the substrate and not under his basking bulb, he also has an under tank heater right here. So the under tank heater is predominantly underneath of this hide right here, and there's a thermostat and it's controlled to 90 degrees. And that's a little warm for this species, but I have it set all the way at the bottom of the substrate at 90 so that it's really not like anywhere close to 90 near the surface. If he really wants to be warm, he can go deeper into the substrate because the thermostat, like I said, is directly at the bottom, touching the glass where the heat comes through. But if he would rather be around 86 degrees, for example, then he can hang out in a different area of the substrate. It's important that the heater and the light source are on the same side of the enclosure because they need to offer a hot side and a cool side. So this is his cool side of the enclosure, which is pretty much room temperature, so in the mid 70s, sometimes low 70s in the winter. And then over here, it's all in the 80s and 90s for him to be lovely and warm. I'm able to light the back of the enclosure with cabinet strip lighting, which has a dimmer and also works with a timer, which is excellent. And it puts out such great lighting all over the enclosure. I'm so satisfied with it. Okay, that is it for the tour, and I'm gonna go ahead and include some clips of Roku enjoying this for the first time. Enjoy. Look at how big. When did you get so big, honey? Oh my god. That's okay, you can go ahead and burrow. Where you going, big guy? Come back. There you are. Look how big you've gotten, huh? I want to show everyone. Look at you. You're ginormous. Hi, honey. I know you don't like being touched. Hi. Oh my god. When did you get so big? When did it happen?
This is a big deal. We're a little stressed. We're a little nervous, right? A little bit.
Oh, you're so big and beautiful, honey. Look at you.
Yeah. I get it that it's something that's very personal to them. It's your heritage. It's who you are. It's where you come from. It's much more than just a
Yeah, look. See how much fun that is? Oh, yes. Look, a little second level. Oh, you don't gotta go wild up there.
Right? We're ready? We're ready. Good. Let's get started. The foundation for barbecue sauce is really simple. It's ketchup. We're making ketchup from scratch. The reason why we do that
Keep going.
is it'll be more consistent.
Not back the other way, doofus.
So the Jones sisters are going to
Yeah, you're actually letting me touch you. What is this strange world?
that go into it, as well as the secret ingredient, so that they can recreate Jones sisters.
Look at you. When did you get so big, honey? Overnight.
Brown sugar. All right. When you're making this, do you have
My goodness, look at you. Oh my god.
Okay.
So there he is back there. And I got to hold his tail today, which is a huge improvement to when he was a baby and would bite me, so I'm thrilled. And he's got a bunch of fake plants to hide in and enjoy himself and be a true fire skink. Right? I can't see you. You tucked your tail. Alright, I'll leave you be. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my fire skink Roku's enclosure. I have come a long way in terms of developing his enclosure. I don't really know how much of the decor he actually uses because he spends a lot of his time under the substrate, but the safer I can make him feel, the more he will eventually start to come out and engage with his environment when I'm around. If you're interested in seeing my fire skink Roku or any of my other animals or any of my other enclosures, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you can be alerted of when I post new videos. That's all for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!